Well, hello. I want to welcome you back to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. I took a week off last week to talk about my top 10 pens of 2016 and before, because I've never done one of those before, but I'm back. So this is what's in use this week, but I'm going to share a couple other surprises at the very end that go along with this. Alright, so a couple of these I'm going to handle more gently, so we'll do this piecemeal here. Sorry, guys. So let's leave two black pens down here for now. This, of course, is the Lamy 2000 and the Thornton's Novice. You haven't seen the review yet, but I did film a review of the Thornton's Novice just recently. So let's just take a quick look at how these guys write. Of course, I can't see it because they still have a broken screen. I'll talk about that too, probably. So I still have my Lamy 2000 fine point and inked up with Noodler's Black. And of course, the Lamy 2000 is my daily writer. This is the only pen which sees continuous use. I haven't, don't tell the purists this, but I haven't even cleaned this pen out since back in August. True story. Now, probably less exciting, in some ways at least, is this Thornton's Novice. I can't remember what size nib it has, and it doesn't seem... Oh, there we go. It's a fine. And it's just regular black ink, whatever it comes with. This pen sees a lot less use. It's just not as pleasant as Lamy 2000, just not as much fun. It's a good pen. This is a pen I purchased specifically to give to people who are interested in trying a fountain pen. I bought a whole, a 10-pack of them. I also did discover, in writing my way through one of them, that after you empty it out, just like with a Pilot Varsity, you can pull out the nib and feed and refill it with the color of your choice. So, very nice pen. I'm very happy with it. Alrighty, another pen that is currently in use. Been kind of an odd experience. I'm using an ink I like, but in this pen it turns out I don't like it. This is a Platinum 3776 with a music nib. Music nib, of course, means 3 tines instead of the regular 2. And of course the ink is Black Swan in English Rose. Coming up hard against the edge of the camera here. Not English, I'm sorry. Australian. You have seen me review this ink when I reviewed the Broadpoint Lamy 2000. This ink just looks good. Here, with this pen, very just kind of a flat purple that doesn't excite me too much. So, it is true that different pens make inks appear differently. There are some inks that are wonderful in this pen. Apparently, this is not one of them. It just doesn't have the shading that gives it that wonderful character. And yes, I like this pen. I like this ink. There are other inks in it that I've loved. I just don't love this combination. So that's always something to consider when you try an ink. Maybe it's a nice ink, just not in that pen. Okay, now this next one here, you just saw reviewed this week, so I'm not going to do a writing sample. You can see the review. Montegrappa Fortuna in the Barcelona Mosaico finish. It's kind of a turquoise. I have Iron Gall Quizzy turquoise ink in it. It's a really nice pen, steel nib pen. Broad nib, although it doesn't write as broad as a lot of my other broads. But just a very nice pen in the hand. I think typically they're overpriced, but I did find mine at a more reasonable price. So just a nice pen. Okay, now we're down to two more little guys. This one has four. I guess is what's laying here. This one has a short story with it. This is a Mont Blanc 32. I think I mentioned, it must have been back at the beginning of December. I had actually purchased a vintage Aurora 88, which got squished in the mail and was, there was no hope for it. So the company, myuberpens.com, offered me a replacement of a similar value. So this is what I picked. It's the first Mont Blanc I've ever owned, so far the only. I like it, I'm not thrilled with it, but I will admit that part of my feelings about it are kind of tempered with that whole, the pen I really wanted got destroyed in the mail. So let's see here. Mont Blanc 32. It's actually not a bad writer. And I believe it's either a fine or an extra fine. I don't remember which. I don't really care. The ink, of course, is Iroshizuku. Konpeki. Now, it's a fine nib pen. This is more of a writing pen rather than a pretty pen. The appearance is not gorgeous. The appearance is functional. And I like it. It's kind of has that understated, very business-like look. An aesthetic that I first fell in love with this pen. I'm trying to decide if I'm blurry there, but I guess not. This pen is also from myuberpens.com. Now it's more expensive than when I bought it, so they must be running out. I don't know. This is a Kaweco V14S. It's made out of, actually, I didn't have an example at the time I filmed my review of this pen, but it's made out of the same material as the Mont Blanc. See, it's a special type of hardened resin. So when I review the Mont Blanc, I will address that. It has sort of a similar aesthetic. I actually prefer the silvery color over the gold color. A semi-hooded nib, just like the Mont Blanc. Kaweco used to have a lot more high-end writing instruments than they do now. I really enjoy this pen, and I think I've said before, had I purchased this pen first, it may have become my daily writer. I never would have tried the Lamy 2000. So, although the price has gone up, you can still purchase one on myuberpens.com, and I don't normally advertise specific companies like that. Excuse me. But I think with a vintage pen, I just about have to. This is a great pen. I'm just thrilled with it. Excuse me. Now, I have another pen that's been burping lately. It's an eyedropper pen. I'm not even 100% sure what it is. I want to say it's a Surwex 101. Kind of looks like my other Surwex 101 that Chris Rapp 52 sent me a long time ago. But that pen is at school and laying on my desk empty, actually. So I couldn't tell you for sure, but the barrel certainly seems the same. This one has gold finishing on it, though, instead of the other. So, yeah. But this is a, let's see. I'm going to guess Surwex 101. But I'll put some question marks in case it's not. And then I will just say that the ink is De Atramentis. It's a sample I purchased. And apparently this pen holds more than just 2 milliliters. Mahatma Gandhi. And please forgive me if I misspell this. I'm actually more worried about the Mahatma part than the Gandhi part. This is, it's an okay writer. The ink, I think I may have mentioned before, I kind of like the concept of yellow inks. Most of it you can't see. This is no exception. I was trying it out. Now, this one is more orange, but that makes it show up, too. And it does look good in this eyedropper. The trouble I've run into with this eyedropper is it does tend to drip out. And probably if the pen were full, I wouldn't have that problem. So, yeah. Now, my final inked up pen, because I said I have a few others, is an older pen. I've been into this vintage thing. This is a Parker Vacuumatic. I will review it, but there's basically a little pump under here, and there's some kind of a rubber diaphragm in here. And of course, it's a Parker. Dates from 1947, and how I know that I'll cover when I do the review of the pen. This is a pen I've wanted for a long time, and I found one at a price I deemed reasonable. And, I had the cash laying around. So it's a Parker Vacuumatic. This is probably a fine. The ink is Montegrappa Bordeaux. One of my favorite inks. I will concede that in such a fine nib pen, it does lose a lot of its fun character, but it's still a nice looking ink. I think next time I'll use something else in this pen. What makes this one cool to me, besides the filling mechanism, are just these alternating layers of semi-translucent celluloid. And I don't know how I'm going to show you right now, so I'm not even going to try. But when I review the pen, I will show you how translucent those rings are. It's kind of a neat effect. This is a green. I actually really wanted one that had yellow celluloid, and there was a little blue diamond here on the clip. I actually paid for it. That's where the money for this came from, actually. And then was refunded the money when the guy selling it says, "Oh, yeah, I sold that to somebody else." No mention of why. Why were you still advertising it? Why did it take you so long to refund the money and tell me that? And it was not one of the dealers that I have said nice things about. It's one I'll never try again. But anyway, I don't know the whole story, but there you go. So, anyway, I am actually very happy with this pen. Very happy with the dealer that sent it to me, actually. I will, I've only shopped from this dealer once, so I don't know if they're actually any good or not, but I was very happy with this pen anyway. So, yeah, it's not exactly what I was after originally, but I wonder if how much of that, what I was after originally, was just because that was the first one that I found. That, I don't know. So, we'll set that aside. Now, that's the end of my inked up pen, so we'll just pull the paper aside. What the heck, let's just take a look at the writing one more time. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now I'm going to just throw a couple other pens at you. Now, these have all been inked up at least once and used over the past, let's say, few months. Some of them I didn't talk about during pens in use. Some of them I did talk about during pens in use. It just kind of depended on when they were inked up and if they're handy or not. I did a small video on this. This is a Waterson's. It's says rosewood on the person I bought it from. From handling it, I have come to believe that it's actually plastic. I just have trouble believing that it's wood. This has been a pretty decent restoration project. I did a lot of cleaning on the outside. Polished this, but not entirely, because I wanted to keep some of that patina. And then on the inside, I gave it one of those re-entry nibs from Nemosine. Heat set it to the feed. It's got more of a gap than I would have liked. I think maybe the original Waterson's nib was perhaps less pointy. I was very happy with the writing on this pen up until it was almost empty. Then when it was almost empty, it started to drip. So I am, the reason you haven't seen my restoration video, because I was going to put that up before Christmas vacation ended, is I wanted to figure out if that's just the way some lever fill pens are, or if I did something wrong. One of the concerns I have is the J-bar goes up a lot further, and the bottom of the J-bar is up quite a lot further inside this pen than most of them. A lot of the J-bars I've seen on other pens, it seems like they sort of get held right here where the grip section meets with the barrel, and then they lever in quite differently than this. So, but this is the longest J-bar I could find, so I don't know, maybe I need to look and see if there's a longer J-bar out there. This was a 62 millimeter J-bar. So we'll see, but I was happy up until the very end, and I'm having trouble believing that the J-bar is why it was dripping. I'm leaning toward, is the nib not seated correctly in the section, but then why didn't it drip until the very end? I just don't know. So that's why I need to learn. And then once I get that figured out to my satisfaction, you'll see the pen. I don't have it over here. It's in the kitchen because I'm just going to clean it out. But there was a Soyuz fountain pen that I had purchased, a Russian one, and lasted about a day. And then just doing regular writing, the tine, one of the tines snapped off. I am going to look at regrinding that. I've never ground a nib before, so I'm scared. That may be a summer project. You know, I'm only out a few dollars on that pen. I'm going to guess, because it was suggested to me, that probably there was a crack in the nib. I just didn't see it, because I've never done that to a pen before. Alright, this is another vintage pen that I purchased. You haven't seen it. I believe this is from the 1920s. It's a monogram fountain pen made out of hard rubber. It was made for the Rexall drugstore. And, lever fill. It's actually a lever. I'll show you better when you get to it, but it actually has a little release and catch mechanism so it doesn't accidentally just get flopped out. It holds itself in place. Not super flexible nib, but reasonably flexible. I just cleaned it out. I've been using it. Very happy with it. It's never going to be one of my favorite pens, but it's not a bad pen, and I like it. So you'll be seeing that reviewed down the road. I'm thinking about a video on filling mechanisms, so I may fill this in that video to demonstrate a lever filler. And then two others here, and then I'll stop talking. This one I filmed the review of this pen on the same day I filmed the Montegrappa Fortuna and the Thornton's Novice. This is a Conklin word gauge. Just very much enjoyed it. It was fun to write with it again, and just cleaned it out because I just have too many pens inked up. As you can see, I thought maybe my hygiene was a problem, but I'm thinking that's just a little bit of silicone grease down there. But just a nice feel in the hand. It has the exact same nib as some of the other Conklins, but I like it. I like this pen a lot. And last one, you've seen it, I've just never talked about it. This is another Esterbrook. Now, I didn't bring over its cousin, which I should have, but didn't think of it. So I'll just we'll put it next to a pen you know. I'll put it next to Platinum 3776. This is a little purse pen. It's what? CH? Anyway, it's a purse pen. It has a C in it. Mine's in yellow. It was made in the 1950s. It has the exact same nib as any other Esterbrook. I put on a, oh my gosh. That is really hard to read. 2314-B nib. Relief broad. So I'm guessing by relief they mean oblique. It's probably hard to tell. But anyway, same nib. Now, what I am told in my further research on this pen is that they are delicate and they're made of a more thin plastic than the standard Esterbrook's, the Esterbrook J. That a lot of them will have cracking here. Oops, so you can't see where I'm pointing. A lot of them will have cracking here around the cap. This one does not. It's in good shape. I found it's very small, kind of like a Kaweco Sport when I hold it. So when it just about has to be posted, and I think you can see why that makes me nervous, that I might actually produce the very cracking that this model's known for. So I don't know what the future of this one is in my collection. I love how it looks, but I'm not excited about a pen that I have to baby and worry about cracking. And it is just a pen, so I guess if it does crack, it cracks, but I just feel like maybe I'm not the right owner for it. So I'm still making up my mind on this one. And I need to film a review with it anyway, so yeah, just look forward to that. Now I'm going to close this video with just a picture. This is looking down the main street of my town. We had more snow. There's a surprise. This storm came Monday, kind of late Sunday, Monday on into the beginning of Tuesday. In fact, we went back to school Tuesday and we had a late start thanks to the snow. And yeah, so I came home from work Tuesday and had to do some shoveling, a lot of shoveling. And then I decided to just go see if I could get a photograph of Main Street. And I did a long exposure. It's a f-stop of, 22? I used a 30-second exposure. Now, why f-stop of 22? Well, because I wanted a really narrow aperture, because when you have a really narrow aperture, you get some of these diffraction things where you get the star pattern around the lights if you do a long exposure, which is what I did. So you can kind of see some headlights and taillights just zipping by on the street, and you might be able to make out a guy standing outside the restaurant, the pizza place down the road. My guess is he's smoking, because why would you stand in one spot so long? Because it was -10 when I took this picture. That's why it's not as good as it could be, because I just yeah, I'm going back indoors. I've had enough. But anyway, take it for what it's worth. When they plow Main Street, they can't pile it on the sides like they do here in the residential area, so they'll pile it in the middle of the street, and then they come in when they have time with a loader and a truck, and they just cart it all away somewhere. So, little fun North Dakota trivia. I used to live in one town where they just pile it deeper and deeper in the middle of the street, and the only time they'd move it is when it got just obscenely tall. But this town's pretty good about cleaning it up. And this town also has a narrower Main Street than that town did. Because that town was just like, holy cow, it's like a 4-lane Main Street. And then in the winter I found out why. But anyway, yeah, winter's here. We've had excessive cold. You might hear the furnace running in the background. It's supposed to get down to -13 tonight. I walked to school in about -10 this morning. I'll probably walk to school in about that tomorrow morning. And, yay. Still haven't fixed the monitor on my computer, and now I've got trouble because all the ditches are full of snow. So ditches are deep in North Dakota roads in large part to catch the snow as it drifts, so it doesn't drift across the road. Well, once the ditch is full, it drifts across the road. So I just keep thinking, okay, do I really want to do the 3 hours down and 3 hours back just for a computer monitor? Especially since I'll have to do it again to pick up the computer, and I'm using the computer and it's still marginally functional, so that's where I'm at. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this visit with my pens this week. Look forward to some notebook stuff coming up, not next week. Next week will be Thornton's Novice. But some notebook stuff coming up, maybe some look at some pens, definitely some vintage pens, and some more comparison type videos. So I thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.